To Outkick the Show, NFL divisional playoff decision edition. My name is Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader. Kyler Murray has officially declared for the NFL draft, you guys are telling me. I think that is the right decision. The reason why I made that case, let me make it for you succinctly, because there's going to be a lot of people running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to make an argument about what exactly should happen. Kyler Murray was set up to make $4.5 million guaranteed. Only 46% of all first-round draft picks in Major League Baseball end up making Major League Baseball for 3 years or more. 1/3 of them never make the major leagues at all. Versus 4 years guaranteed with a fifth-year option if you are a first-round draft pick. Kyler Murray stood to make between 2 and 7 times as much guaranteed money from the NFL, assuming he is a first-round draft pick. So, I think that's going to happen. I think it is a good play on his part, purely from a financial perspective. He can now see where he gets drafted. He can go to the combine. If he's not a first-round pick, he can go join the Oakland A's later. If he is a first-round draft pick, then more power to him. He wants to get drafted as high as he possibly can, maximize his revenue. There's a lot of lazy people out there that say, oh, you can make a lot more money long-term in baseball. Just not true. Just not true. If you were at the quarterback position right now, you can play for a long time at 3 positions in the NFL. Quarterback, kicker, punter. That's pretty much it. Pretty much it, but you can make $100 million or more. I think if you were talking to a financial professional, as I'm sure Kyler Murray has, the best way to maximize his revenue, leaving aside which sport he likes the best and everything else, is to do exactly what he did. I think he's making the smart financial decision. Where exactly he ends up being drafted, we'll have to wait and see. Yes, you can also be a long-term career guy as a long snapper. That is fair as well. If you're involved in punting, kicking, long snapping, or if you are involved in the quarterback position, you can last a long time. A holder usually doesn't have the job of just being a holder. You're usually another member of the roster somewhere. I am blown away by the results that we saw in the NFL playoffs. I'm going to rank them in order of my surprise. The Patriots doing to the Chargers what they did, I thought was the most surprising single outcome of any playoff game. The Chargers rolled into Foxborough and got humiliated by Tom Brady and the Patriots. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't see that coming at all. I was not prepared for it. I thought the Chargers would go in and compete throughout. Instead, they got their ass kicked, okay? Second most surprising result, I thought, was the way that the Chiefs dominated the Colts. I thought the Colts offensively, with Andrew Luck, particularly on third down, would have success against that Chiefs defense. I was floored by how dominant the Chiefs were. I also thought that the performance put forward by the Saints was not really that surprising. I didn't expect them to go down 14-0, and I wish they could have made the field goal to get the cover. And then the other game, I thought the Rams would win a close game by like 3 points. I didn't think they would rush for 273 yards. So big picture storylines from the divisional round of the NFL playoff games. One, this is pretty fascinating. The 4 teams still alive in the NFL playoffs are 1, 2, 3, and 4 on total offense. All right, listen to that. That's pretty crazy because you still have defense wins championship guy running around out there. The 4 teams that are still alive are 1, 2, 3, and 4 when it comes to total offense. Their average total defense, number 16 overall. Chiefs are worst at 24. Patriots are best at number 7. All right, but even with offensive dominance, you still have to be able to win the line of scrimmage. You still have to be able to handle people on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, all right? Here are some of the rushing totals in these games. Chiefs ran for 180, held the Colts to 87. Rams ran for 273, and the Cowboys ran for 50. The Patriots ran for 155, and the Chargers ran for 19. And the Saints ran for 137 and held the Eagles to 49 yards rushing. Even in an era of offensive pyrotechnics, dominating the line of scrimmage is still incredibly important. You still have to out-physical the team that you're playing against. We already talked about Kyler Murray declaring for the NFL draft. Started off the show with it. So if you're coming in telling us that Kyler Murray has declared for the NFL draft, you can go back and restart the top of the show. I talked about it for 3 minutes on the top there, okay? So I'm all in. I think you also can make the argument that the 4 best coaches in the NFL, Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, and Andy Reid, are also all into the playoffs. 4 best coaches. Now, you can also argue Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, potentially as the best coaches in the NFL. For my money right now, the 4 best coaches all advanced: Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, and Andy Reid. All right? Those would be my 4 coaches, and you understand if you watch the dominance that the Rams put forward against the Cowboys, you understand a little bit why so much of the NFL is chasing after Sean McVay. I think I told you guys this last week. I think this is just a redo of the situation we used to have where everybody tried to hire Bill Belichick, right? And you thought, oh, I'm going to get the next Belichick if I hire around the guys that have been working with him. Almost always that didn't pan out. So I think in the larger context, the story here is everybody wants now Sean McVay, and we'll see whether or not it is possible that anybody else is able to have that patina, that penumbra, that gold embossed brilliance that Sean McVay seems to have brought to bear with the LA Rams. Other thoughts in what we saw on the game. I thought there were personally 2 really indicative plays that gave you evidence of how much the NFL has changed in terms of decision making. Sean McVay and Sean Payton's decisions. Do you remember the first one? When Sean McVay had a 4th and goal, I believe it was like at the 2, up 8 points against the Dallas Cowboys late in that game. He could have kicked a field goal to go up 11. Do you remember the play that I'm talking about? Everybody pretty much in NFL history would have kicked that field goal to go up 11 points because it gives you a 2-score lead. Sean McVay went for it and got a touchdown. I thought that was emblematic of the new age of NFL coaching. They might have been inside the 1. I can't remember exactly. Now, the other play that jumped out at me that I thought was evidence of a new era in the NFL, down 14-0, Sean Payton and the Saints had a 4th and 2, and instead of kicking the field goal to make it a 14-3 game, they went for it, threw into the end zone, got a touchdown. Both of those calls were so different than anything you would usually see in the NFL. I bet 98% of the time that you and I have been watching the NFL in our lives, when a coach is up 8 and has a 4th and goal inside the 1, the decision to kick the field goal would have been almost automatic. Same thing on 4th and 2, down 14-0, get some points, put some points on your scoreboard. The decision to kick the field goal there would have historically been almost guaranteed, right? So this is pretty wild when you think about the evolution in the NFL. Again, for everybody who wants to come in here and tell me that Kyler Murray has declared for the NFL draft, we talked about it off the top of the show, all right? Also, on top of all these reactions, I got to be honest with you. We went undefeated the opening week of the NFL playoffs, utterly defeated in this week. It was a real capstone when the Saints yanked the field goal that would have covered the game, and that was a beatdown. 0-4. Some men would run from their 0-4. What I will tell you about my 0-4 is simple math. Simple math tells you that that undefeated, 3-0-1 or 4-0, depending on if you were betting late, because 2.5 ended up happening for the Seahawks as opposed to 2. 4-4, 4-4, or 3-4-1. Either way, basically 50-50. I'm going undefeated this weekend. Zero doubt. You just follow the simple math. Undefeated, defeated, undefeated. And then I'm going to lose the Super Bowl. Simple math, but I'll go 2-0 this weekend. Maybe 4-0 with the over-unders. Going to be on Lock It In a little bit. Encourage all of you to watch. I think I'm going to give you my picks already. I think the Chiefs win by double digits over the Patriots, and I think that the Saints are going to win over the Rams as well. We're going to see a Saints-Chiefs Super Bowl. All right? Now, here is what is going on with the New England Patriots. Everybody's all fired up about Tom Brady and how good they looked against the Chargers. This is a perfect example, if you follow me on Twitter, of what stock market parlance would know as the dead cat bounce. Every time that you think a stock is going to tank, it suddenly bounces right back up and surges back into the sky. And then it goes right back down. The Patriots are the dead cat, and that performance against the Chargers was their bounce. Patriots on the road so far this year, 3-5. They beat the Bills, they beat the Jets, and they beat the Bears barely by getting a tackle at the 1-yard line. They lost to 5 non-playoff teams on the road. They lost to the Jags, the Lions, the Titans, the Dolphins, and who else did they lose to? One other team that stunk, the Patriots did. They lost down the stretch time after time after time. Like a cat, boom, they bounced right back up. They lost to the Jags, they lost to the Lions, they lost to the Titans, they lost to the Steelers, and they lost to the Dolphins. All 5 of those games were losses to teams that didn't make the playoffs. The most losses that the Patriots have ever had in the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era to non-playoff teams, 3. They had 5 this year. They are going to get run. They are going to get run in this game against the Chiefs. I'm all in on Chiefs Kingdom. I'm all in on a massive win there. But got to own it. Got to own the disaster that was the gambling weekend. It's all on me. I know Kyler Murray declared for the NFL draft. I appreciate all the caps. If you want me to hear discussion about Kyler Murray declaring for the NFL draft, do you think that you're the first person 15 minutes into this show to suddenly realize that Kyler Murray has declared for the NFL draft? We opened the show talking about Kyler Murray declaring for the NFL draft. I appreciate you thinking, oh my God, I'm the first person to ever walk into this show, and everybody else who's on this show, the thousands of people who have watched it so far, nobody has told Clay Travis that Kyler Murray declared for the NFL draft. All right, did you guys see the video of Michael Bennett shoving the cameraman as he walked off of the field? This thing should be everywhere. A confronting, shoving, whatever you want to say, pointing at. It's unbelievable how much of a pass that that Michael Bennett continues to receive from the media. This guy is 100% trash. Anybody defending him at this point is utterly indefensible. I think the media should have to be held accountable for this. I, at least, have been out there arguing that he is trash for a long time. All right? Ever since he lied about the Las Vegas police and the media did not pick up on it or talk about it in any way. He confronted, if you haven't seen it, you can go to my Twitter feed. As he was walking off the field, a guy was filming him, and Michael Bennett had a confrontation with the cameraman. You can go watch it. He is a jerk. He is an unlikable human being, and the fact that he is considered to be a woke athlete worthy of emulation is amazing. By the way, shout out LeBron James. Hard to be more hypocritical than LeBron James going to the Cowboys and the Rams game. Barely 2 weeks ago, LeBron James says the NFL product is basically slavery. The old white men in the NFL are slave masters. And then what does LeBron do? He shows up at the Coliseum in LA to watch an NFL game and support slave mastery and support slavery itself. It's an unbelievable move by LeBron James. Literally criticizes the NFL and says that it's basically slavery and that NFL owners are slave masters. And then he shows up and actually watches the game, which is fundamentally endorsing the product. When you go watch something, you are saying, yeah, I'm choosing to spend my time, my money, my attention on something. It's literally the least woke thing he could do. He also went into the Rams locker room. I don't know about you, but if you're a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan like LeBron James claims to be, how in the world do you ever justify going into the locker room of the opposing team? Finally, a little bit of news. Fox is dropping the Big 12 title game. I think this is big news, guys. I think it is big news that Fox is dropping the Big 12 title game. This is a canary in the coal mine for college football. This hasn't even gotten very much attention. I'm surprised it hasn't been more active on the Twitter streets surrounding this. Fox has decided the Big 12 title game is not worth the money that they are paying for it. I think it's $20 million a year that they pay right now, and the audience is not substantial. This is a bad sign for what might happen in 5 or 6 years when the Big 12's television contract is up. The Big 12 got wildly overpaid. I think the marketplace is going to retrench. I'm not sure there are that many people who are going to bid for the Big 12 or the Pac-12. And so I think this is going to be a major market correction. This is one of the first signs that it might actually be taking place. This is something to pay a lot of attention to, all right? I also want to toss this out as we come down to the close of the show. I got to go get ready to hop on, lock it in. The Big 12, big hit there. We'll see what kind of marketplace there is elsewhere for the Big 12 title game. I also think this is potentially a sign that title games in general, outside of the SEC's title game, aren't worth that much in the grand scheme of things. Idea I had. I don't know if you guys think this makes a lot of sense or makes no sense, but I think the SEC could keep its title game and start its season a week earlier. What if the SEC finished with its title game while everybody else is finishing their regular season? That way you wouldn't have an issue of competitive imbalance with the SEC playing a game while everybody else is getting ready for the playoff. I think that could make a lot of sense. I think it could be a very good move in the grand scheme of things. That's not true. College football title games, lowest ratings ever. That's not true. Not true at all. It did okay. It was fine. It was a blowout. The reason why most people bailed on it was because quite simply, there was not a lot of interest in the game once Clemson got up 28 points in the game overall. You're right. That's what the Big Ten did for basketball. It's a good point overall. All right. I'm only going to do 20 minutes today. Again, my apologies for going 0-4. Spin zone, all on me. No defense. No defense. I'm going to bounce back and win the next two this weekend. AFC and NFC title game. Double blood banks coming your way. We're going to win that. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Kyler Murray, again, we're going to reinforce. Kyler Murray declares for the NFL draft. What I said at the start of the show was it's a smart move. He stands to make 2 to 7 times as much money if he's drafted in the first round of the NFL. The NFL contract is guaranteed 4 years with a 5th-year option if he's a first-round draft pick. Only 2/3 of first-round picks overall in Major League Baseball ever make the major leagues, and fully only 46% of them ever get past their 3rd year guaranteed. Kyler Murray right now, $4.5 million. He is going to make a lot more money in the NFL. This is a smart financial decision. He doesn't have to guaranteed go to the NFL. He can wait and see where he gets drafted, wait and see how much money potentially he's on tap to make there. I think this was the smart strategic move. Good for him declaring. If he doesn't become a first-round draft pick, I'd encourage him to go into Major League Baseball. Then it becomes the right decision. But he stands to make 2 to 7 times as much money in the NFL. It's ultimately pretty much everything in life, all about the financial decisions when you are his age and how much money he can make. I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. I got to go do my television show now. Lock it in, 3:30 Eastern on FS1. 4:30 Eastern on FS1 in about a half hour. 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 2:30 Mountain, 1:30 Pacific. Kisses to all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. This has been Outkick the Show. Love you. Thank you, Facebook.